Arkan, Shalom, Shalom, Israel, Shalom to the Torah, Shaz, Yasha Allah. Give him the chorus, all honor, glory, and praise unto Yahweh, Bahashima Mashak, Malak Yahweh Shah. That's all praise, and honor, and glorification unto the Most High God Yahweh. In the name of his only begotten Son Yahweh Shah, this is brother Yasha Allah coming back to y'all yet another video through the Spirit Power Yahweh, Bahashima Mashak, Yahweh Shah. All right, we get straight into this. All right, Shar Shabbat to all that's observing it today, Friday night. It's Saturday night. All praise to the Most High God for another day of rest through the Spirit and power of Yahweh, Bashma Mashak Yahweh Shah. All right, Yahweh being the name of the Father, and in the name of His only begotten Son. All right, Yahweh Shah, who we refer to as Jesus Christ, man. All right, so I'm gonna get straight into this through the Spirit. So this is going into, as you can see from the title of this video, let brotherly love continue. So we must in these last days let brotherly love continue. All right, now let's go to the book of Hebrews, chapter 13 and verse 1. Okay, Hebrews chapter 13 and verse 1. All right, and it reads, let brotherly love continue. So we want brotherly love to continue. Okay, and the ins and outs of brotherly love is all throughout the scriptures. All right, the scriptures covers everything. It covers love. All right, remember true love. We're not talking about in the world love. Taking your brother out to a damn strip club, or taking the brother out to a for a birthday party and whatnot. Y'all think that's love? That's not love according to the precepts, though. What's love according to the precepts? Because that's our source right there. When it says let brotherly love continue, we can't just make up our own definition of what love is. Got to go based off these precepts. Okay, because the Lord said, let's go to the book of Isaiah, chapter 29, verse 8. All right. This book of Isaiah, chapter 29, and verse 8. And it reads, Salakia, Isaiah chapter 28, verse 9. Right? It says, whom shall he teach knowledge, and whom shall he make to understand doctrine? Them that are weaned from the milk and drawn from the breast. For precept must be upon precept, precept upon precept, line upon line upon line, here a little and there a little. So the Lord said that precept must be upon precept, that we have to have precepts to back up about what we're saying. So when we say let brotherly love continue, we have to understand and identify what type of love that is based off the precepts. All right, so let's go to the book Leviticus chapter 19. Let's go to the class. All right, let's go back to the source. Let's go back to the law. All right, Leviticus chapter 19. And hey, I'm gonna just start at first. I'm gonna go to the book. Okay, I'm gonna go to the book of 1 John first, right? Just to establish that, because a lot of brothers may know already, a lot of sisters may know already. But remember, you also have it's also good to go over the milk, right? So let's go to the book of 1 John, chapter 5, right? It's the book of 1 John, chapter 5, and verse number 2, right? It says, by this we know that we love the children of God, when we love God and keep his commandments. So that's how we know that we love the children of God, right? Who are the children of the Most High, right? The Israelites. Those are the children of the Most High. Last time I checked, right, the Lord said that his children were the children of Israel, that's Exodus 3 and 10, come now therefore, and I'll send thee unto Pharaoh, that thou mayest bring forth my people, the children of Israel, out of the land of Egypt. So that's the Lord's children, all right? So when it says, by this we know that we love the children of God, when we love God and keep his commandments. So how do you love the Most High? By keeping his commandments. And that's how you know that you love the children of the Most High as well, by keeping the Most High's commandments, right? Let's go to the classic, verse 3. For this is the love of the Most High, that we keep his commandments, and his commandments are not grievous. So that's the love of the Lord, right? That's how we know that we love the Most High God, when we keep his commandments, right? And do the things that is required unto him, right? And remember, right? The commandments teach love. So let's go to the book of Leviticus, chapter 19, right? Leviticus chapter 19. Remember, Leviticus 19 chapter goes into diverse laws, all right? laws speaking about the land, laws, just diverse laws of how to conduct amongst your people and how to love your people. So let's go to the book of Leviticus, chapter 19, and we'll start at verse 14, right? It says, "Thou shalt not curse the deaf, nor put a stumbling block before the blind, but shalt fear thy God. I am the Lord. Ye shall do no unrighteousness in judgment. Thou shalt not respect the person of the poor, nor honor the person of the mighty, but in righteousness shalt thou judge thy neighbor." So that's love within itself. You righteously judging your neighbor. Did not the Lord say in the book of John, chapter 7? All right, let's get that precept real quick. Let's go to the book of John, chapter 7, and verse number 24. Did not the Lord say this? Right? He said what? It's like I'm in 6. All right, John chapter 7, verse 24, it says, "Judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment." So the Lord commanded us in the so-called Old and New Testament. He said to judge righteous judgment, man. So we have to be doing these things, right? To judge righteously, right? And that's in the law, right? It says what? But in righteousness shalt thou judge thy neighbor. So that's love within itself. When you're righteously judging your neighbor, all right? You see a brother that is going off. He's going the hell off. He's eating pork in your face. He's eating pork, man. We have to say something. We have to say something. That's us loving our people. You know, we have to speak up. And when I say this to myself as well. You know, we can't be hypocrites in this thing as well. You know, I can't say that you must do something and I don't do that, because then we would be found like the hypocrites. For they say and do not. Huh? That's pursuant to the book of Matthew chapter 23. So if we see a brother sin, that's why we go into the highways and byways as well, right on the Sabbath. Because remember, even in the book of Sirach, chapter 27, verse 2, the Lord said that sin sticks close to between buying and selling. So, you know, you even have a lot of our people going into stores, in and out of stores. You have Eve going to the mall, Jake going to the mall on the Sabbath. You have our people buying and selling and doing whatever the hell they want on the Sabbath, you know, to do their to commit their fleshly desires. So that's why we also have to be out there too, right? To tell them about where they're going off at. That's even pursuant to the book of Isaiah chapter 58. All right, let's go to the book of Isaiah chapter 58 and verse 1. Right, that is the classic, and that's why we're out there as well. That's brotherly love. So we want that to continue. Remember that Hebrews chapter 13 verse 1, that precept is very, very, I don't want to say, it's very broad. You know what I'm saying? It's very broad. It's a lot that covers and that goes into letting brotherly love continue. All right. Let's go to the book of Isaiah chapter 58, verse 1. "Cry aloud, spare not, lift up thy voice like a trumpet, and show my people their transgression, and the house of Jacob their sin." So we're commanded not only in the law to judge righteously, but also in the prophets. Remember what the Lord said in the prophets, pursuant to how it says in Isaiah 58, in verse 1, certain commandments that are given to us by the prophets. We have to keep those. We have to keep that like his law as well. You know what I'm saying? We have to keep those commandments as well. Just like how the Lord said in the book of 2nd Ezra, right? Chapter 2, right? In verse 1, it says what? It says, "Thus saith the Lord, I brought this people out of bondage, and I gave them my commandments by my servants, the prophets, whom they would not hear, but despise my counsels." And so that's what the prophets of now are doing as well. Remember, you have prophets in these days right now. Don't think that the prophets just ended. You know what I'm saying? When you hit Malachi, then it's the end of the prophets, right? Certain Bibles even would even tell you that it says, right, the end of the prophets, right? If you have a 16:11, okay, if you have a 16:11, it will say the end of the prophets, okay, and you might have a 16:11, and you might suppose that, okay, well, at the end of Malachi, or at the end of the Old Testament, there's no more prophets left. That's simply not true, right? That's simply not true, because even in the book, when you go to the book of Matthew chapter 23, right, and this all goes into letting brotherly love continue. All right, let's go to the book of Matthew, right, chapter 23 and verse number 34. Right, it says what? "Wherefore, behold, I send unto you prophets." So the Lord just said that he's going to send unto you prophets, all right, in the so-called New Testament. So you have prophets now. You know what I'm saying? I heard also that certain people, certain people, or this teacher, I had this teacher, and basically he was saying that, he was making certain examples of how people, will be delusional, right, and crazy, or be deemed crazy or delusional. And so essentially, what he was saying was that people that call themselves prophets are delusional, they're crazy, this, that, and the third. Well, that's wrong. Because the Lord even said in the so-called New Testament in Matthew that he's going to send onto you prophets. Who are these prophets, man? You know, where are they? What are they doing? You know what I'm saying? They're just like the prophets of old. They're bringing onto you the word of the Lord and nothing else. And they're bringing you what? The commandments. That's Second Ezra chapter 2, verse 1 on that. So that's a form of love. You teaching your people the commandments, you know? Because when you teach your people the commandments, that's you caring for them. You're taking time out of your day. You know, you're taking time out of your day. You're taking time out of your energy. You know, so like you're taking your energy and giving it onto this person. You're giving them your time. Remember, your time is valuable. You're giving your time, your effort, your strength to teach them these commandments. You know, these laws, statutes, and commandments, in hopes that what they may repent and turn back unto the Lord, right? And that they may also keep the commandments as well. So I'm gonna read that again. It says, "Wherefore I send unto you prophets and wise men and scribes, and some of them ye shall kill and crucify, and some of them shall ye scourge in your synagogues and persecute them from city to city." All right, just like how the prophets of old were. Okay, they were persecuted from city to city. The Lord even tell you that in the book of Matthew, 5th chapter, that they persecuted the prophets that were before you. You know, so you do have prophets nowadays who's giving the people the commandments of the Lord as they should, right? But that is a form of love. That's letting brotherly love continue, you know. And there's, remember, like how I said, there's different ways of how you can love your brother. But I'm going right now off of what? Keeping the law, right? Keeping the law, keeping the commandments, teaching them the commandments. Because that's even a commandment to teach other people about the law, statutes, and commandments. You know? Let's go to the book of Leviticus chapter 19, verse 16. It says, "Thou shalt not go up and down as a talebearer among thy people." So the Lord said, you should not go up and down as a talebearer amongst thy people. What's a talebearer? Talebearer is somebody that gossips, somebody that slanders, somebody that is just damn, yeah, just precisely that. It's a gossiper. The Lord said you should not be a gossiper, because then you're sowing up strife, you're sowing up debate, you're sowing up, confusion. And the Lord, he hates that. He doesn't want confusion amongst his people. The Lord likes to have everything done in decency and in order. Anything outside of that, he's not dealing with it. So when it says, "Thou shalt not go up and down as a talebearer among thy people, neither shalt thou stand against the blood of thy neighbor. I am the Lord." So that's love right there. Because if you're a gossiper, all you want to do is sow up strife, envy, and debate. That's all you want to do. That's your purpose, right? So then the Lord will hate that, because that's not you loving your people, man. That's just you wanting to, you know, just, spreading rumors. You want to destroy somebody, right? It says, "Neither shalt thou stand against the blood of thy neighbor. I am the Lord." So you can't stand against the blood of your neighbor. What does that mean? If you see your brother or your sister getting beaten up, put to death in righteousness, depending on that situation as well, you have to help them. You have to help your people. You know what I'm saying? But it says what? "Neither shalt thou stand against the blood of thy neighbor. I am the Lord." Because that's love, defending your people, right? And the Lord even says, "Strive for the truth unto death, and the Lord shall fight for thee," in the book of Sirach, all right? The 4th chapter. But it says what? Verse 17. Here's the point, right? Here's the point. It says, "Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thine heart, thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor and not suffer sin upon him. So the Lord said, thou shalt not hate thy brother in thy heart. That's the opposite of love. The opposite of love is hate, man. Right? Just like how the Lord, he hates Esau. The Lord doesn't love Esau. He loves Jacob, and that's two opposites, right? Jacob is opposite to Esau, and Esau is opposite to Jacob. And the Lord, he hates one, and he just loves the other, right? But it says, thou shalt not hate thy brother in thy heart. Thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor and not suffer sin upon him. So the Lord said that you should rebuke your neighbor and not suffer sin upon him. Just like how we was going into, you have to rebuke your brother, right? You have to rebuke him. If he's going the hell off, you have to rebuke him. You understand? Right? So you have to rebuke your neighbor, man. So let's go to the book of Luke, chapter 17. Right? Let's go to the book of Luke, chapter 17. Right? In verse 3. All right, let's go to the book of Luke, chapter 17. Right? Let's go to the book of Luke, chapter 17, and verse number 3. It says, take heed to yourselves. If thy brother trespass against thee, rebuke him, and if you repent, forgive him. So the Lord even said that. He said, if thy brother trespass against thee, rebuke him. And if you see your brother trespassing against the Lord, that's also like he's trespassing against you too, right? Because aren't we a body? Last time I checked, Israel was the body of the Lord, right? Last time I checked. So let's go to the book of 2 Corinthians. All right, let's go to 2 Corinthians chapter 6, right? To prove that we are the body of the Lord. Israel is the church, right? As a whole. Let's get that real quick. Let's go to the book of Acts. All right. Go to the book of Acts. All right, let's go to the book of Acts, chapter 7, right? And verse number 36, right? It says what? It says, he brought them out. After that, he had shown wonders and signs in the land of Egypt and in the Red Sea and in the wilderness 40 years. So this is going into Moses being in the wilderness. All right. Verse 37. This is that Moses which said unto the children of Israel, a prophet shall the Lord your God raise up unto you of your brethren, like unto me. Him shall ye hear. So the Lord said, come, but actually, I'm gonna keep going. Here's the point, verse 38. This is he that was in the church in the wilderness with the angel, which spake to him in the Mount Sinai with our fathers, who received the lively oracles to give unto us. So basically, Moses, he was in the church in the wilderness, but there's no church in the wilderness. There was no physical church in the wilderness. There's no account of that, man. So what is Stephen talking about, right? Hey, let's go to the blue letter, right? Let's go to the blue letter. And the blue letter will even tell you. So let's go to the book of Acts chapter 7. What is this church that Stephen is referring to? Let's go to the book of Acts chapter 7 and verse 38, going into the word for church. All right, it says, a gathering of citizens called out of their homes into some public place in assembly. That's a physical church. But here's the B definition. All right, it says the assembly of the Israelites. That's literally the church, the assembly of the Israelites. So when the Israelites assemble, that's the church right there. You don't have to go to a physical building and then now you're in church. Nah, man. You don't have to go to a physical building. There's no account, right, of Moses building an actual physical, structure, and then he's calling that church in the wilderness. Nah. That church is talking about the body of Israelites. Even when you go to the book of Matthew chapter 18 and verse 20, it says, "For where two or three are gathered together in my name, there am I in the midst of them." So Yahweh Shah is in the midst of Israel. All right. He's in the midst of you. And when two or three are gathered together in the name of Yahweh Shah, Yahweh Shah is right there in the spirit. Right. And the Lord even said in the book of Joel, all right, the classic, the book of Joel, chapter right, chapter 2, in verse number 27, it says, "And ye shall know that I am in the midst of Israel." All right. "And that I am the Lord your God and none else, and my people shall never be ashamed." So the Lord said that I am in the midst of Israel. Let's link that up with the book of Second Corinthians. What I'm trying to prove is the body of Israelites is the church, and that we're the body of Yahushua, right? Because Yahushua is basically the head of that, right? And that we are actually the body of the Lord, if that makes sense as well, since we are the church, right? Let's go to the book of Second Corinthians chapter 6 and verse number 16. "And what agreement hath the temple of God with idols? For ye are the temple of the living God. As God hath said, I will dwell in them and walk in them, and I will be their God, and they shall be my people." You see that? So the Lord said that we are the temple of the living God. That's crucial right there. We are the temple of the living God, right? Why? It says, "As God hath said, I would dwell in them and walk in them, and I'll be their God, and they shall be my people." Because remember, how the Most High, He dwells in the temple, in the heavens. He dwells in the temple in the heavens. So just like how you have things in heaven, right, up in the heavens, you also have things upon earth as well that reflect the heavens, or the spiritual realm. So just like how the Most High God in the third heaven dwells in the temple, you understand? Yahweh, the Most High God, He actually dwelt in a physical temple as well, going into the tabernacle of witness, right? The tabernacle of witness, also how the Spirit of the Lord will literally come down and talk to men, or really the high priest, right? That's all in the law, right? That's in Exodus, Leviticus, but even the Lord even dwelt amongst His people on a spiritual level. And so, since we're the spiritual temple, Yahweh Ba'ashim is dwelling within us. So, going back to that, understanding that we're the body of the Lord, understanding that we're the kingdom of the Most High, right? Pursuant to the book of Luke, chapter 17, and verse 20 on down, pursuant to certain precepts that understand or that prove that we're the body of the Lord as a collective, then what? When we go to Luke chapter 17, verse 3, it says, "Take heed to yourselves. If thy brother trespass against thee, rebuke him, and if he repent, forgive him." So if he repents, right, Slakia, if thy brother trespass against thee, let's say a brother sends a sin onto you, right? He goes off, he steals from you. Let's say he steals from you, okay? He's not only stealing from you though, because since you are Israelite, and especially if you're in this truth, you are the body of Yahweh. You are part of that, right? You're part of the church, right? So if you steal, you know what I'm saying, from your brother, especially in this truth, that's you basically stealing from the Lord, and that's also, you sin against the brothers, you sin against the Most High, because let's go to the book of First Corinthians. It's the book of First Corinthians, chapter 8 and verse 12. It says, "But when ye sin so against the brethren and wound their weak conscience, ye sin against Mahashiach." So the Lord said, if you sin against the brother and wound their weak conscience, you sin against Yahweh Shah. Because what Paul was talking about was offending the little one. You didn't want to offend a little one, right? Because if you offend a little one, someone that's not really built up in the spirit, not really built up in the faith like that, and you offend him, you could be in danger of sinning, not only against him but against Mahashiach Yahweh, against the Lord. So we don't want to sin against the Lord. That's the main goal in this thing, to stop sinning, right, and to cease from that. So when you sin against your brother, you also sin against the Most High, man. That's why we have to rebuke our brothers, man, right? Because nobody's going to rebuke our people except for us. Because the Lord left that to us, man, right? And the Lord didn't just come down, crack open the sky, and start rebuking people, start correcting people. And remember, even Yahweh Shai. Let's go to the book. Because what is the first damn 3 chapters of Revelation going into? The letters, right? To the 7 churches by Yahweh Shai himself, you know. And what was the Lord doing? He was detailing certain things that they did good and certain things that these churches did wrong. All right. So let's go to the book of Revelation real quick. Revelation chapter 3. And you can read that. I'm not going to read the whole Revelation 1, 2, and 3 right now, right? But you can read that on your own. But I'm going to get this precept that in which he said this. Right, let's go to the book of Revelation chapter 3. I'm already if it started verse 15. It says, what? I know thy works, that thou art neither cold nor hot. Actually, I'm sorry, verse 14, right? It says, and unto the angel of the church of the Laodiceans write. So this is what Yahweh Shai is saying to the church of Laodicea, right? These things saith the Amen, the faithful and true witness, the beginning of the creation of the Most High. I know thy works, that thou art neither cold nor hot. I would thou wert cold or hot. So the Lord said, I know your works, that you are neither cold nor hot. I will want you to either be cold or hot in this thing, right? I will want you to either be cold or hot. And so basically what the Lord is doing, he's getting on them. He's getting onto the Israelites in this church, right? Verse 16. So then because thou art lukewarm and neither cold nor hot, I will spew thee out of my mouth. So the Lord is getting on them, all right? He's rebuking them. Because thou sayest, I am rich and increase with goods and have need of nothing, and knowest not that thou art wretched and miserable and poor and blind and naked. I counsel thee to buy of me gold tried in the fire, that thou mayest be rich, and white raiment, that thou mayest be clothed, and that the shame of thy nakedness do not appear, and anoint thine eyes with eye salve, that thou mayest see. So the Lord is basically, as I said, correcting. And that's why he says in this verse right here, verse 19, as many as I love, I rebuke and chasten. Be zealous, therefore, and repent. So if you call yourself a Christian, you know what I'm saying? You call yourself a follower of Mahashiach Yahweh Shai. If we want to follow Yahweh Shai, that means we have to do as he said. We have to walk as he walked, pursuant to the book of 1 John, chapter 2 and verse 6, right? Which says, he that saith he abideth in him, ought himself also to walk even as he walked. So we have to walk like Yahweh Shai. We have to do the things that he did, do the things that he said, right? Say the same things that he said, right? So when it says, as many as I love, I rebuke and chasten, we have to take on that same spirit, right? If we love our people, we have to rebuke and chasten them, right? And not chasten in terms of beating them up, right? Not chasten or chasten in terms of damn, you know what I'm saying, slapping them up in the face when they commit sin. The Lord didn't teach that, right? The Lord taught the fruits of the spirit, right? But it says what? As many as I love, I rebuke and chasten. Be zealous, therefore, and repent, right? So we have to rebuke our people if we love our people, you know? Let's go to the book of Nehemiah. See, Nehemiah was actually in a different spirit, right? Though he walked in the spirit of the Lord, you know, certain things, right? Just like how Yahweh Shai, sometimes Yahweh Shai had to get physical. We don't always want to get physical with our people. We want to walk in the spirit as much as we can. But there are certain instances and certain accounts in which the prophets and even Yahweh Shai will literally lay hands on their people because of what? At the end of the day, because they want to rebuke their people and get on them. and literally cause them, right, to turn from the wickedness, right? Even if that's a so-called hands-on approach. Right, let's go to the book of Nehemiah, chapter 13, right? Right, let's go to the book of Nehemiah, chapter 13. I'm gonna start at verse, right? I'm gonna get straight into the point, right? Nehemiah, chapter 13, and verse number 19, it says, "And it came to pass that when the gates of Jerusalem began to be dark before the Sabbath, I commanded that the gate should be shut, and charged that they should not be opened until the Sabbath, to after the Sabbath. And some of my servants set I at the gates, that there should be no burden brought in on the Sabbath day." Exactly. Pursuant to the book of Jeremiah, chapter 17, there should be no burden uh, basically carried upon the Sabbath day, right? Or burden being done. All right. Verse 20. "So the merchants and sellers of all kind of war lodged without Jerusalem once or twice. Then I testified against them and said unto them, Why lodge ye about the wall? If ye do so again, I will lay my hands on you. From that time forth came they no more on the Sabbath. So the Lord said, or Slaki, Nehemiah said, Why ye lodge ye about the wall? Why you just here? You know what I'm saying? Damn, right next to the wall. Why you just here? Right? If you do so again, I will lay hands on you. So he said, if you do that again, I'm gonna lay my hands on you, man. Remember, Nehemiah is a Jake, bro. He's not some damn Edomite, bro. So he said, I will lay hands on you. I'm gonna put my hands on you. And Nehemiah was probably strong. As we're about to read, I don't envision Nehemiah as a weak, frail Edomite, stringy haired, person, right? I can't picture Nehemiah as that, as such. We know that Nehemiah, was an Israelite, right? And we also know that the mighty acts that he did, he was not afraid, man. He wasn't afraid of anything. He only feared the Most High, right? And he said, if you do that again, I'm gonna lay my hands on. I'm gonna. And he didn't specify about what he was gonna literally do, right? He didn't specify about what laying his hands on the mat actually meant. But he just said, if you do that again, I'm gonna lay my hands on. Right? So that could have been a slap. It could have been punches to the face. I could have been pulling of the hair. Right? That could have been anything. It says, from that time forth came they no more on the Sabbath, and they obeyed Nehemiah. Right? If you picture a big old tall person, Judite, long beard. Maybe he had afro, what type of hair, whatever type of hair he had, damn muscular. And I envision Nehemiah as a muscular man or a strong man, you know, because he was literally contending with a certain Jews, beating them up, right? So, but I envision him. If you imagine this person tall as hell, strong as hell, and he's telling me, if you do that again, I'm gonna lay my hands on you. Better not come around here. You know what I'm saying? On the Sabbath. From the SS, from that time forth came they no more on the Sabbath. They listened to him, man, because of his might, because of his power, right? Verse 22. Because sometimes we have to come, with correcting our people, and this is just all out of love. At the end of the day, it's not out of hatred, right? We don't go out there to you know what I'm saying? We don't drive all the way to camp, setting up camp, before, of course, before the Sabbath, we get the, we have to buy out posters. We have to literally go to FedEx. We have to literally go to FedEx, spend, spend our own money to get posters. Spend that time to do that, or to get posters, to print it out, to get maybe a tent, a pop-up thing. That costs money, right? To literally congregate with brothers and exhort one another to come out, the camp, forming the camp. That's not easy, doing all this stuff. We drive all the way to camp and whatnot, post up. We don't just do all that just to get on Eve. And we're just getting on her. Cause we want to. We don't just just go to camp just to yell at our people, man. That's not what we out there to do. We're not out there to do that, right? We're out there to correct them in righteousness, right? So let's go back to that though, right? Nehemiah, right? And it's all out of love though, right? It's all out of love because remember, you don't want to see your brother sinning because our sins is what got us in this predicament in the first place. That's why we're here, because of our sins, because we transgressed against the Lord. We had to go into captivity. We had to suffer the bondage, the slavery, right? We had to suffer the shipwreck. We had to suffer the sicknesses. We had to suffer our wives and our children being taken away from us by the hands of our oppressor. We had to suffer all these things because of our iniquities, because of our sins. So if we can let our brothers to continue to sin, then we're just prolonging that. We're just prolonging, you know, our captivity here on a physical level, you know. So let's go to Nehemiah chapter 13 verse 22. And I commanded the Levites that they should cleanse themselves, and that they should come and keep the gates to sanctify the Sabbath day. Remember me, O my God, concerning this also, and spare me according to the greatness of thy mercy. Verse 23. In those days also saw I Jews that had married wives of Ashdod, of Ammon, and of Moab. So Nehemiah saw certain Jews that was marrying outside of Israel, meaning that they were marrying heathen, right? Verse 24. And their children spake half in the speech of Ashdod, and could not speak in the Jews' language, but according to the language of each people. So they couldn't even remember their children was being, although these children are Israelites, because remember, if a Jew or Israelite marries a heathen woman and has children, those children those children are still considered Israelites. All right, but in the eyes of the Lord Yahweh Bashman Abishai, you know. Nevertheless, it doesn't mean that we should be going to the heathen and laying down with them and having kids, man. Although those are still Israelites, that doesn't matter, right? Because this kind of stuff will happen, right? Let's read that again, verse 24. And their children spake half in the speech of Ashdod, could not speak in the Jews' language. So they couldn't even speak Hebrew, man. They're being brought up after the traditions and the manner and the customs of their mother instead of their father. It should be the other way, right? It should be the other way. It says, but according to the language of each people, verse 25. And I contended with them. So Nehemiah, he contended with the people. That word contended means what? Let's look up the word contend. All right. Let's look up the word contend real quick. Contend. It says struggle to surmount a difficulty or a danger. Assert something as a position in an argument, right? Engage in a competition, right? So basically, contend means to struggle, right? To resist, to withstand, to grapple with, to cope with, you know, to deal with. So Nehemiah was contending with them, you know, he was taking them on, right? It says, come on, Shalom, King.
Shalom.
Shalom, right? It says, and I contended with them and cursed them and smote certain of them and plucked off their hair and made them swear by the Most High, saying, ye shall not give your daughters unto their sons, nor take their daughters unto your sons, or for yourselves. Right? So he was cursing them, he's cussing them out, man. He was smiting them, hitting them in the face. It says, and smote certain of them and plucked off their hair. So he was pulling off hair, man. Nehemiah was that strong, he's pulling off hair, you know? And that stuff hurt. That hurts, bro. You know, to pull off somebody's hair, the person that's getting their hair pulled off, that hurt. That would hurt as hell, right? It says what? And made them swear by the Most High, saying, ye shall not give your daughters unto their sons, right? nor take their daughters unto your sons or for yourselves, right? Uh, so basically, so yeah, Nehemiah, he was literally getting on his people, man. And he didn't want them to sin, but that's out of love. Nehemiah didn't do that out of hatred, right? He started beating them up because he was like, you know what I'm saying? Hey, give me your woman, right? Nehemiah didn't do that, bro. There's no account of him saying that. He didn't want that. You know what I'm saying? He said, to hell with the heathen woman, man. Deal with your own people. He was probably saying that. Like how a Judite mom be every whoop is like a word, right? Did not I tell you, right? Right? Hey, Nehemiah could have been doing that, man. Right? Get the hell away from this. Right? So, you know what I'm saying? But Nehemiah, hey, just like how your mom, she might be whooping you, she might be whooping you, right? Now, is she doing that because she hates you? Or is it because she wants you to do better? Right? If our dad then beats us up or chastises us, damn, yells at us, cusses us out, is it because he has a hatred for you, or is it because he wants you to do better, and he believes that his judgment that he's giving you, what I'm saying, is the way that you should go, right? It's because he loves you, man, right? And sometimes, and I'm just pull this one precept and I'll pass it, right? So let's go to the book of First Corinthians, chapter 4, right? First Corinthians chapter 4 and verse 19, it says, but I'll come to you shortly if the Lord will. I gotta start verse 18, bro. Right? First Corinthians chapter 4 and verse 18. Now some of you are puffed up as though I would not come to you. So certain men were in the church of Corinth. they, they didn't believe that Paul was going to come, right? But Paul, he said he said that there some of them are puffed up because they didn't believe that Paul would actually come back to him, right? Verse 19. But I will come to you shortly if the Lord will, and will know not the speech of them which are puffed up, but the power, right? The power. Right? Paul, he said he's coming with that power, right? Verse 20. For the kingdom of God is not in word, but in power. Again, he says he's going to come with that power. Verse 21. What will ye? Shall I come unto you with a rod or in love and in the spirit of meekness? So sometimes when we're dealing with our people, coming in that love, there's tough love and there's that love of, kindness, meekness, and temperance, which we always want to have. But sometimes we got to approach our people different ways. If that love, that kindness, that tenderheartedness is not really working, right? Then we might have to come with the rod, you know? But we don't always want to come with the rod. Just like how Yahweh Shah did. Yahweh Shah did with the Pharisees and certain Israelites, right? Let's say even the in the book of John, the 8th chapter, going off the first verse on down, the woman that committed adultery, the price of committing adultery, you should be put to death. That's what the law says, right? But what did Yahweh Shah do? Yahweh Shah didn't put her to death. He didn't small off her hair. He didn't, start beating her up and then say, go and sin no more. He just said, hey, go, you know what I'm saying, and sin no more, right? But with certain people, like in the account in the book of John, chapter 2, that was selling damn merchandise in the Lord's temple, bro. Right? That's off. But when they were doing that, Yahweh Shah, he flipped the tables, owed the changers money, and was whipping them. So sometimes Yahweh Shah, he came in the spirit of meekness and of kindness, but he also came with that rod as well, which we also have to reflect. But Khan, you got it, King.
Salafi in advance, I put in the precept already pulled. But first, touch on what the brother's saying. I want to get this real quick. Proverbs 27 and verse 5. Open rebuke is better than secret love. So it's better to rebuke someone openly and be, keep it real with them than to have secret love. Not really caring for your brother. Real love is letting your brother know that he's not keeping the commandments, knowing when he's going off. In the world, they say real love is spotting someone on a with a G, smoking weed. When they're having a bad day, you roll up a blunt for them. You don't really keep it real with them. When you know they're in the wrong, you have respect to persons. You don't tell them that they're in the wrong. When they talking bad back, talking bad mouth back to their parents, you should be that friend saying, "Hey, that's not cool." When their parents ask you certain things, what's going on, hey, you gotta be truthful, man. No lying, and things of that nature. A real friend will always keep it real. Verse 6. Faithful are the wounds of a friend, but the kisses of an enemy are deceitful. So it says, faithful are the wounds of a friend. Paul, he was getting into it with certain people, especially at Corinth, because they was talking a lot of smack about Paul. Saying he's all tough over the letters, but in person, he's a different person. Things in that nature. And Paul had to let them know certain things. He had to. He tells you in Second Corinthians, chapter 12, I believe, or 11, Salakia, that he was a fool for glory, if I'm not mistaken, man. Because he had to tell them the certain things he went through. So it's important that we be real brothers in this thing and let people know when they go off. Let me get a precept to link back up what the brother was saying too with Nehemiah. Because sometimes, especially back then and now, you got to lay hands on Jake. If you do it now, you might get put in jail. But back then, hey, it was righteous. Like Nehemiah, he laid hands on Jake to not go into these heathen. It's always in Jake's spirit to try to mingle amongst the heathen, man.
Yep.
Whether you read about the Egyptians, even before Egypt, but the Egyptians, the Assyrians, all the way to the Babylonians, the Persians, the Greeks, the Romans, and now they always try to mingle amongst the heathen. And by that time, Nehemiah wasn't playing with it, man. He had a whole different spirit. But let me get this precept real quick in First Maccabees, chapter 1, and verse 16, and it reads, "And when many of Israel came unto them, Mattathias also and his sons came together." Now, if you didn't read First Maccabees and Second Maccabees, I really suggest that you would. But Mattathias was a man of renown. His sons were the men of renown: Judas Maccabeus, Jonathan, Simon, I believe his name is Eleazar, if I'm not mistaken, and so on and so forth. Verse 17. Then answered the king's officers and said to Mattathias on this wise, "Thou art a ruler and an honorable and great man in this city, and strengthened with sons and brethren. Now therefore come thou first and fulfill the king's commandment, like as all the heathen have done. Yea, and the men of Judah also, and such as remain at Jerusalem, so shalt thou in thy house be in the number of the king's friend, and thou and thy children shall be honored with silver and gold and many rewards." And a lot of people would take that bait. They would take that snare. That's like Esau coming to you right now saying, if you do this, that, and the third, and sell your brother out, guess what? We'll give you riches. If you do this, since you're a man of renown, everyone knows you. Guess what? We're gonna put you on broadcast. We're gonna put you on live TV. We're gonna interview you. All I want you to say is that Black Hebrew Israelite is a cult. It's not real. God isn't real. A lot of people might take that just to get money, but this man Mattathias is a man of renown with integrity, and he's not going to do that. Right? It reads, then Mattathias answered and spake with a loud voice, "Though all the nations that are under the king's dominion obey him and fall away every one from the religion of their fathers and give consent to his commandments, yet will I and my sons and my brethren walk in the covenant of our fathers. God forbid that we should forsake the law and the ordinances. We would not hearken to the king's words to go from our religion, either on the right hand or the left." Now, when he had left speaking these words, there came one of the Jews in the sight of all the sacrifice on the altar which was at Modin, according to the king's commandment. So, Mattathias just got done preaching and exhorting the brethren of not going off into the heathen and doing their ways. Right? Verse 24. Which thing when Mattathias saw, he was inflamed with zeal, and his reins trembled, neither could he forbear to shew his anger according to judgment, wherefore he ran and slew him upon the altar. So this man, Mattathias saw this man commit wickedness by eating abominable things on the sacrifice of the king's commandment. And right when Mattathias saw that, he was angry and very zealous, and he killed him, man, like Phineas. Phineas saw this man and the Midianitish woman, if I'm not mistaken, and he slew both of them. When you zealous for the law, you're going to love your brother by putting him to death too, man. To take that sin away from Israel. Verse 25. Also, the king's commissioner, who compelled men to sacrifice, he killed at that time, and the altar he pulled down. Thus dealt he zealously for the law of God, like as Phineas did unto Zambri, the son of Salom. Like I was just saying, man. You might be so zealous in love with the law, that you might see your brother going, going off, you might rebuke him harshly. And back then they killed him to take away that man from Israel, so they won't have no place upon Israel. And that's real love. That's not hate, right? Verse 27. And Mattathias cried throughout the city with a loud voice, saying, whosoever is zealous of the law and maintaineth the covenant, let him follow me. And that's playing upon tables, man. We're looking for the Lord's looking for people who's going to love his brethren, who's going to love the Lord, who's going to keep the law, statute, commandments to the best of his or ability, and zealously, man. Con, you got it, King.
That's right. That's right, man. So, yeah, you know, um, and that's the zealousness, man. You know what I'm saying? That's the zealousness. And when you love the Lord, like how we was bringing out to the spirit, when you love the Lord, you automatically love your people because the commandments teach love to your people, man. You know, it was going through that in Leviticus 19 as well, right? There's certain commandments like thou shalt not commit adultery. By you not committing adultery, you're doing two things. You're not only serving the Lord and loving the Lord, but you're also loving your people as well. Because if you love your brother, you're not going to sleep with his wife. You know what I'm saying? Right? That's just like how the Lord He said in the man that breaketh wedlock. You're breaking this marriage. It's a beautiful marriage, man. Man and a woman to come together, right? In marriage, they're one flesh. I'm saying they love each other. They might even have kids, et cetera, et cetera. Right? The whole happy story. And then here you come through your desire and sleep with this man's wife, and that just destroys the marriage. Right? That's evil. That's wicked, bro. You know. So by to avoid that, it says you love your people. You're not going to commit adultery, right? Just like how the Lord said, right? Certain commandments, like what? Let's go to the book of Exodus, right? Let's go to the book of Exodus. See, that's what people don't understand, and that's where you Christians, that's where you do err at, man, because they always like to focus on the strictness and the bondage of the law, right? We're not under the law, brother. Why are you keeping the law? Stop telling me I have to eat pork. I can't eat pork. I'm justified by the blood of Jesus, right? That's what they say, but they don't actually understand all the commandments, man. They just think it's just pork. No, don't eat pork, right? Don't eat shrimp, crab, lobster. Put your fringes on, right? Do this, do that, do that. Nah, hey, guess what? The law is actually very deep, man. When you keep the commandments of the Most High, right? People think that the commandments is such evil thing, man. That's off, bro. Because somebody said, even a certain pastor, they said that if you keep God's laws, you hate Christ. What? That's crazy, man. That is the complete opposite of what Yahweh actually said. Last time I checked, John chapter 14, verse 15, the Lord said, if you love me, keep my commandments, man. And what did the Lord also say in the book of John? Real quick, I just got to bring this out, bro. Because Christians, they don't understand. And the world doesn't understand, man. That's why you got to study this law. Can't just hop to the New Testament, have no idea what happened in the Old, though. Right? You swear up and down you're a scholar of the New Testament, right? You're a teacher of the New Testament. You have no idea what happened in the Old. You're a liar, bro. Right? Let's go to the book of John, chapter 12, and verse number 49. For I have not spoken to myself, but the Father which sent me. He gave me a commandment what I should say and what I should speak. Right? So Yahweh Shah literally just said that whatever he's speaking, whatever commandments he's giving out, is from his Father. It's not of himself. So by you saying, well, you got to keep Christ's commandments, that's love, right? Brother, by keeping the 10, we don't have to keep the 10. Just keep Christ's commandments. The Lord, and Christ literally said, he gave us Lakia. But the Father is Lakia, for I have not spoken to myself, but the Father which sent me, he gave me a commandment which I should say and what I should speak. So whatever Yahweh Shah was saying, that's literally what the Father was saying, right? So, Christians, they they err in that. But let me get this law real quick. Let's go to the book of Exodus, uh, chapter 23, and verse number 4. Right? It says, "If thou meet thine enemy's ox or his ass going astray, thou shalt surely bring it back to him again." So if you see your enemy's ox or his ass going astray, remember this. In this case, your enemy is not talking about the heathen, all right? It's talking about the children of your people. Just like how Yahweh Shai was talking about that in the book of Matthew, the 5th chapter, the 43rd verse on down. It said, "But I said unto you, love your enemies." Right? That enemy is not talking about the heathen, okay? Because even when you go to certain precepts, the Lord said that he's going to destroy his enemies. So which one is it, man? Which one is it? Should we love them, or should the Lord then utterly destroy them? Last time I checked, the Lord's not a damn hypocrite and not a double-minded man, right? Or transsexual, right? The Lord's not a transsexual, right? Right? He's not bugged out. So there's two types of enemies, if you didn't know that in the precepts. But it says, "If thou meet thine enemy's ox or his ass going astray, thou shalt surely bring it back to him again." That's love, because remember, your ox, your asses, that's your property, man. That's your form of money. That's your form of getting places. That's your form of a lot of stuff. That's literally like your money going away. And if you see, even though you might have an alt with a brother, you see his ox or his ass going astray, the law commands you. And if you don't do this, you're committing sin. The law commands you that you must bring it back to him again. That's love right there. Right? That's love. But Khan, you got it, King.
Con. Yeah. On the laws, is the law is love. It shows you brotherly kindness, to love the Most High God, to love the poor, to love the Levites, to love different people of your nations. Just because you might be rich, yet you're always going to have poor in Israel to the kingdom of heaven. It shows you to love them as well. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 14 and verse 27. I'm sorry, verse 28, and it reads, "At the end of 3 years, thou shalt bring forth all the tithe of thine increase the same year, and shalt lay it up within thy gates." So you might get the first fruits. You might have a lot in abundance. You might have 100. What's it called? Lord probably increased you a lot, right? But the thing is, you gotta take a tithe of that, a 10% tithe, and lay it within your gates for who? For the poor. He's going to tell you, verse 29. "And the Levite, because he have no part nor inheritance with thee, and the stranger, and the fatherless, and the widow, which are within thy gates, shall come and shall eat and be satisfied, that the Lord thy God may bless thee in all the work of thy hand which thou doest." So there's even specific laws to give to the poor and things in that nature to help keep them safe, because the Lord already knows that Israel is poor. So there's certain laws to even have mercy upon the poor. Even when you read Deuteronomy chapter 15, it goes into, I'll just read it, verse Deuteronomy 15, verse 1. "At the end of every 7 years, thou shalt make a release, and this is the manner of the release. Every creditor that lendeth aught unto his neighbor shall release it. He shall not exact it of his neighbor or of his brother, because it is called the Lord's release." So let's say that I'm in debt to Yasharallah. I might be in debt $1,000, $144,000 to the brother Yasharallah. Over time, he kept lending it unto me. Then on the 7th year, guess what? If I didn't pay him back in full on the 7th year, hey, guess what? It doesn't matter no more. The Lord released that debt for me, because that's real love. Because that debt, it can make people stressed. People might kill themselves. Even people kill themselves here in Babylon because they're in debt. They might get their car taken away. They might have to pay all these different bills. They can't pay their college, what's called tuition. They're in bad debt. They can't. They have bad credit scores. They can't do certain things. They'll kill themselves. But back then, you have certain laws. The Lord have mercy upon us and release us from those debts. That's why Esau and his wicked kingdom has to get destroyed, because his system is made to destroy the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Right? But again, they don't keep the law, statute, and commandments. They put they charge you with interest. They I don't know these different terms, man. But over time, guess what? If you don't pay this back, it adds up and adds up and adds up. If you don't pay your car note on time, they add more money, which you already couldn't pay at first. And guess what? You don't pay the next time, they add more money to it. They add more money to it. Next thing you know, you waking up at 3 a.m. in the morning, looking at the blinds because you heard a noise. It's your car getting repo, man, because you didn't have enough money. So Esau's wicked. But back then, guess what? The Lord will have mercy and release you from that debt. That's real love, having compassion about us. Let me see.
Yep.
Kind of this book of Deuteronomy. Okay, kind of slocky. There's this book of Deuteronomy, chapter 13, verse 17, and it reads, "And there shall cleave not of the cursed thing to thy hand, that the Lord may turn from the fierceness of his anger, and shew thee mercy, and have compassion upon thee, and multiply thee, as he hath sworn unto thy fathers." So if you keep the commandments, the Lord will show you mercy. When thou shalt hearken to the voice of the Lord thy God, to keep all his commandments, which I command thee this day, to do that which is right in the eyes of the Lord thy God. And it's plain upon tables. The Lord gave you a choice to either keep the commandments and be blessed, or to not keep the commandments and be cursed. And that's Deuteronomy 11 and verse 26 on down. So what the brother's saying, the commandments are love. We get one more precept.
Right.
This book of First John, chapter 5, and verse 3, and it reads, verse 2, and it reads, "By this we know that we love the children of God, when we love God and keep his commandments." So if you love one another, that's you keeping the commandments. How do you know you love your brother, you love your sister? By keeping the commandments. By telling them, if you're not doing this, you're going off. By showing forth brotherly kindness and sisterly kindness. Verse 3, "For this is the love of God, that we keep his commandments, and his commandments are not grievous." And again, there's Numbers 15 and 38 is not the only commandment. Leviticus 11 verse 7 is not the only commandment. You actually doing works behind the scenes, as in giving alms, helping the fatherless, giving alms to the poor, that's keeping the commandments too. You helping out the widows. Let me get a precept real quick. Even in the ministry of Peter, and things of that nature, they set up men to minister to the widows who were neglected so far. Let me get that real quick.
Uh,
Acts chapter 6. All right, I'll start at verse 1, and it reads, "And in those days, when the number of the disciples was multiplied, there arose a murmuring of the Grecians against the Hebrews, because their widows were neglected in the daily ministration." Now, the brother can correct me if I'm wrong, but the Grecians are Israelites still, but they speak the Greek language. It's still Hebrews, but they speak the Greek language. And of course, the Hebrews are Israelites who speak the Hebrew, right? That's like me. I speak English. I would be a so-called Grecian, but then you have some other people who's what's called who's what's that word called? They're very well known in the language of Hebrew, right? And it says, because their widows were neglected in the daily ministration, and even in this world, the fatherless, the widows, they get neglected. They have to work 3 jobs and they still don't bring enough income. Verse 2.
mhm.
Then the 12 called the multitude of the disciples unto them and said, "It is not reason that we shall leave the word of God and serve tables. Wherefore, brethren, look ye out among you 7 men of honest report, full of the Holy Ghost and wisdom, whom we may appoint over this business." So the 12 apostles, they were setting up men for this duty, for this business, the office. Verse 4. But we will give ourselves continually to prayer and to the ministry of the word. And they saying, and the saying pleased the whole multitude, and they chose Stephen, a man full of faith and of the Holy Ghost, and Philip and Prochorus and Nicanor and Timon and Parmenas and Nicholas, a proselyte of Antioch, whom they set before the apostles. And when they had prayed, they laid their hands on them. So basically, they set up men to go serve the widows and the fatherless during the daily ministration, and that's real love, and that's keeping the commandment. Even back to Deuteronomy 4, Deuteronomy 15, things in that nature. Uh,
Khan, that's right. King Khan. Khan, that's right. That's right. I want to get this precept link up with that. Right. Uh, it's a book. It's Iraq, chapter 29. It's a book. It's Iraq, chapter 29, and verse. Right. Let me see when I start at. It's Iraq, chapter 29, and verse. Yeah, this whole thing's good. I'm sorry, verse 1. It says, "He that is merciful So that's another thing too. All right. Remember the law. The law also teaches mercy, man. See, our Christians, y'all sleeping on the laws, man. Always talking about, mercy, faith, grace. You can find all these things in the law, right? So, yeah, but anyways, right? Anyways, and for any person that doesn't believe that, let's go to the book of Matthew, chapter 23, and verse number 23. It says, "Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for ye pay tithe of mint and anise and cumin, and have omitted the weightier matters of the law, judgment, mercy, and faith." Y'all cut, bruh. Y'all are cut, right? What have you to say to this? You know what's talking about? Damn. Faith, this, justified by faith, this, not justified by works of the law, this, and that, and this and that. But literally, Yahweh Shah said that the Pharisees weren't talking about the weightier matters of the law, which is talking about judgment, mercy, and faith. The hell y'all talking about, bro? But it says what? These ought ye have to done, and not to leave the other undone. Because what the scribes and the Pharisees would do, they're hypocrites, because they would, what they would do is when they would pay tithes, they'll even pay tithes of your basically your spices. And they'll say they'll get down to the very last spice. You know what I'm saying? That's off, bro. You have your cumin right here, your spices, right? You have to pay tithes. So you have to pour it out, count it one by one. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's off, bro. You know what I'm saying? Count it one by one. You got the scribes and the Pharisees like this. Yeah. Better be 10%. You know what I'm saying? That's off as hell, bro. But then they'll leave out the weightier matters of the law, right? Which is judgment, mercy, and faith, right? So going back to this, right? And judgment, mercy, and faith is in the law, right? Slakia. What precept did I want? Oh yeah, Khan. Right. Let's go to the book of Sirach, right? Chapter 29. Right. All praises. Right. So you can find mercy in the law. You can find faith in the law. All right. Let's go to Sirach, chapter 29, verse 1 though. He that is merciful will lend unto his neighbor. So that's another thing. You have to be merciful unto your people, man. Just like how Bible was going unto. Being compassionate, walking in mercy. That's another thing. That's love as well, right? Because remember, you can keep the laws, right? You can be in the law 24/7, but you also want to apply other precepts outside of the first five books of Moses. There's also other precepts on law, on faith, on mercy, on how to be compassionate with your people as well, man. Right? It says, "He that is merciful will lend unto his neighbor, and he that strengtheneth his hand keepeth the commandment." So, if you're merciful, you will lend unto your neighbor. You might lend unto him a Bible. You might lend unto him a couple dollars, right? Money. You might lend unto him. That's you being merciful. That's you loving your people, man. Right? Lend to thy neighbor in time of his need, and pay thou thy neighbor again in due season. So the Lord said to lend to thy neighbor in the time of his need. If a brother is down bad and you have substance, then you should give it to him, bro. You should help him out. That's lending to your brother, right? Let's go to the book of First John real quick. It's the book of First John, right? Salaki, bro, my Bible is just damn. Let's go to the book of First John, chapter. Let me see this. Oh yeah, Khan, right here. All praises, right? Let's go to the book of First John. This is the whole thing. It's good as well. But let's go to verse 14. It says, "We know that we have passed from death unto life because we love the brethren. He that loveth not his brother abideth in death." So if you don't love your brother, you abide in death. It says, "Whosoever hateth his brother is a murderer. And you know that no murderer have eternal life abiding in him." So if you hate your brother, you're like a murderer, man. And no murderer is going to get to the kingdom. Of course, unless they repent. But Hey, you're not going to get into the kingdom hating your brother though, right? Verse 16. Hereby perceive we love the Most High. Slaki. Hereby we perceive we the love the Most High because He laid down His life for us, and we ought to lay down our lives for the brethren. What did the Lord say? There's no greater love than this. Than what? That a man lay down his life for his friends, right? Verse 17. Here's the point though. But whoso hath this world's, but who Slaki, but whoso have this world's good. If you have this world's good, let's say Abaya is financially stable, all praise, right? But he never wants to basically use that money, you know, for his people. You know what I'm saying? Or let's say I have a lot of money. Let's say I'm rich, but I'm just stingy and I never want to use that money. You know what I'm saying, for the profit of my nation, for the profit of of our people. I would be off for doing that. I just want to spend it on the new Jordans. You know, I have all this money and I'm just spending it on materialistic things. That would be off, right? Because that materialistic stuff is not going to get you to the kingdom, and it's not going to help out your people. But it says, but whoso hath this world's good and seeth his brother have need, and shut up of his bowels of compassion from him, how dwelleth the love of God in him? He just said that right there. The Lord just said that, man. You know, and you see, you have this world's good, and you see your brother have need, and you shut up your bowels of compassion. What's your bowels of compassion? Hey, don't you, when you see somebody down bad, you see the poor of your people living in the streets, right? Barely have any clothes. They have to push that shopping cart around. You know what I'm saying? They're dirty, they're stinky. Don't you have compassion on them, man? Don't you have pity upon them? Right? Or do you just look them as trash? Right? Hey, we feel bad. We feel bad for them. We get to go home in your car, right? To the AC, to the heat, right? And the comfort of your home. He doesn't get to do that though, man. Right? And that's our brother though, right? It says, and shut up his bowels of compassion from him. Right? Sometimes you don't want to shut up your bowels of compassion, right? How dwelleth the love of the Most High in him, right? So, Bakan, you got it, King.
When you see someone who's really struggling and you perceive that they're a man of the Lord or a sister of the Lord, because of course don't give a sinner, but you know there and they really need that, and you have it in abundance, and you don't give it, the Lord gonna kill you, man. Because the Lord, you gotta understand, the Lord used certain people as a vessel. He only gave that thing to you to use it for this brother. The only reason why you have a car is to go pick up that brother who lives an hour away so he can come and congregate with you. It wasn't for nothing else. It wasn't for you to go to work. It wasn't for you to go hang out and do this, that, third. All it was for to go pick up that brother, man. You gotta understand this thing. The Lord probably gave you money to help out the camp. Probably gave you money to help out a sister or a, so don't ever forget that. Don't think it's only for you, things of that nature, man. But just the book of First Samuel, chapter 25, verse 1. And Samuel died, and all the Israelites were gathered together and lamented him and buried him in his house at Ramah. And David arose and went down to the wilderness of Paran. So David was in the wilderness. And when we're in the wilderness right now, it's Babylon, man. This place is known as a wilderness, a thirsty land where there no water is, man. Verse 2. And when you're in the wilderness, it's not comfortable. You're amongst animals, wild beasts. You're in the elements. It might be cold, it might be hot. Animals round about you, right? You don't have comfortability. You don't know when you're going to eat. Verse 2. And there was a man in Mahon whose possessions were in Carmel, and the man was very great. And he had 3,000 sheep and 1,000 goats, and he was shearing his sheep in Carmel. Now this man is named Nabal. He was a very rich man. He had sheep, goats, he had things in that nature, man. Very rich. He had land. He had no worries in the world. He was living comfortably, man. When you read this chapter, it tells you he was throwing a feast of a king, right? And Dave, when you read the whole chapter, for sake of time, I'm not going to read the whole chapter, but it's one of my favorite chapters. When you read it though, David sent men to go ask him to lend some sheep, some food for him and his men in the wilderness. Let's see what happened. I'm gonna jump down to verse 9, 1 Samuel 25, verse 9. And when David's young men came, they spake to Nabal according to all those words in the name of David and ceased. And Nabal answered David's servant and said, who is David and who is the son of Jesse? There be many servants nowadays that break away every man from his master. Shall I then take my bread and my water and my flesh that I have killed for my shearers and give it unto men whom I know not whence they be? And that's off, man. That's very off. That's like Jake saying nowadays, should I give money whom I had to work for? I had to put hours and hours in just to give it to somebody who I don't even know? To a little nigga I don't even know? That's Jake nowadays, man. Let's see what happened. Verse 12. So David's young men turned their way and went again and came and told him all those sayings. And David said unto his men, gird ye on every man his sword. And they girded on every man his sword. And David also girded on his sword. And there went up after David about 400 men, and 200 abode by the stuff. So David's about to hit a lick. David's about to, go hit that thing up, man. In modern day terms, when they feel like they got their car pulled and things of that nature, they feel some type of way. And guess what? And that same day or that night is going to go down. He's going to show you who you just talked to, man. Right? That's on a carnal and very wicked level right now. David, man, he felt some type of way. He got offended because he did work for Nabal. Now Nabal acting like he didn't know him. When he's in a low condition, he don't want to help him. He felt some type of way, and David is the elect. So let's see what the Most High did for Nabal not helping the elect, man. And you represent the elect, right? Or you might be talking to someone who is the elect. You might not help him, man. But this is the book of First Samuel, chapter 25, and I'll start at verse 36. And Abigail came to Nabal, and behold, he held a feast in his house. So he was in a house of mirth, feasting, being glad, and being prideful, man. And pride is the beginning of destruction, a beginning of a great fall, right? It says, and Abigail came to Nabal, and behold, he held a feast in his house, like the feast of a king. And Nabal's heart was merry within him, for he was very drunken, wherefore she told him nothing, less or more, until the morning light. But it came to pass in the morning, when the wine was going out of Nabal, and his wife had told him these things, that his heart died within him, and he became as a stone. So he basically had a heart attack, right? Verse 38. And it came to pass about 10 days after that the Lord smote Nabal, that he died. You see that? The Lord smote him 10 days later, or a few days later, man, the Lord smote him and died. Just because he didn't help out the elect. And even when you go back to Hebrews 13, verse 2, you might see an angel unaware. He's rolling past. You might see a heart full of clothes. He look at you, he wipe the sweat and keep it pushing. Now what you gonna do? You see him struggling, he's thirsty, he got nothing to drink. You have two water bottles. You might have one water bottle, but you already drink. You're not thirsty really. You just want to sip it just to sip it. Are you gonna give him that water, or are you going to sip it for yourself? Keep it for yourself. This is the book of Hebrews, chapter 13 and verse 2. Be not forgetful to entertain strangers, for thereby some have entertained angels unawares. So you might see an angel asking you for bread and for water on a twofold level. Brothers have ears to hear, and you say, "Get away from me, little boy," right? And hey, man, whole time that's probably Yahweh in the flesh, in the spirit and things of that nature. They're probably Michael, Raphael. You never know who you're speaking to, right? That's why it's important that we have a good eye, a tender eye toward one another, but
Mm-hmm. Con, that's right. That's right, man. Yeah, Con, you never know who you're talking to, man. That's why that's why it says what it says in Hebrews, right? 13 and 2. Right. This is that you probably kind of like quoted it. I just pull it real quick. Hebrews 13 and 2, and it reads, be not forgetful to entertain strangers, for thereby some have entertained angels unawares. So that should only exhort us to treat each other more properly in this thing. Because like how Abaya said, through the spirit, you never know who you're talking to, man. You know? You never know who you're talking to. Do you think that Nabal understood who David really was? No, he didn't have any idea who David was and his status, the status that he had with Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, and the future that he would have as well. that the Lord will utterly, well, not utterly, but will literally swear to him, to David, that he will, out of his loins, his seed, man, not anybody else's, not the boss, not damn Saul's, right? Not anybody else except for David. That out of his seed should come forth Yahweh. Yahweh came out of David, man. Right? Imagine that. That kind of like love that the Lord has toward you, man. Right? To choose you, to literally have his son, his only begotten, right? The first begotten of all things to come out of you on a physical level, right? To come literally as Yahweh Shah Mahashiach upon the earth, right? That's a true blessing and a true sign that the Lord, loves you, man, right? But yeah, Nabal, he had no idea, right? So that's why we should be treating each other with the utmost respect, with the utmost kindness to the spirit, right? Because we never know who we're talking to, we never know who we're dealing with, right? And we never know the type of status that a certain brother or a certain sister has with the Most High, even if we might deem them as lower than us, which we shouldn't, right? Even this, because let's apply that precept. Let's go to the book of Philippians, right? Let's go to the book of Philippians, uh, right, chapter 2, and verse number 1. If there be therefore any consolation in Mahashiach, if there be any comfort or love, if there any fellowship of the Spirit, if any bowels and mercies, right? Verse 2, fulfill ye my joy, that ye may be like-minded, having the same love, being of one accord, of one mind. Let nothing be done through strife or vainglory, but in lowliness of mind, let each esteem other better than themselves. Hey, that's the precept. That's what the precepts say, man. That we should what? Uh in lowliness of mind, let each esteem other better than themselves. It doesn't matter if you know 1,000 precepts. It doesn't matter if we seem mighty. It doesn't matter if we think that we were on fire for 3 weeks straight. That doesn't matter, right? We still have to esteem each other better than ourselves, because then we'd be walking in meekness. Because then, you know what I'm saying, you will be you will not be in danger of judging another brother, and then you get judged. Because the Lord did say that in the book of John, chapter 7, verse 1. Judge not, lest ye be judged, right? For what judgment ye judge, it shall be slaki. What measure ye meet, it shall be measured to you again. Roughly paraphrasing, man. Right? But that's another thing. We can't keep going. Keep going. It says verse 5. It's like verse 4. Look not every man on his own things, but every man also on the things of others. That's love as well. Because you're putting other things before yourself. Right? Yeah, you might be hungry. Yeah, you might be, this, that, and the third, whatever. But you're still putting this brother before you. You might be tired as heck, man. Brother says, hey, can we go over, this precept and that precept? Can we go over this breakdown? I don't know what this means. Can you break it down? We will be off. And we was like, well, no, it is date night with my rib. So, you know what I'm saying? Hey, brother, I'll text you. I'll text you tomorrow. Right? And the whole day you just sitting up for your woman, man, talking about vanity, bro, and folly, bro. Why this brother is like, where's recently? What is? I need someone to break it down, man. That'll be off his head, bro. Right? So we have to also, what I'm saying, not only look on the things of ourselves, but also on the things of others, because we're a nation in this thing, man. And the Lord, the last time I checked, the Lord called us a people and a nation, not just individual Israelites, right? Everybody, every man for himself. I don't think the Lord ever said that, man. That in this truth, you just by yourself. That's it. You got nobody else with you. And don't act like we're not going to be delivered together, man. It's not only going to be one brother just delivered and then everybody else left upon the earth, man. Right? It's not only going to be one person in the kingdom of heaven just alone, right? The Lord never said it's only about you. If that's the case, there'll only be one page in the scriptures, right? If it's just about you, you know. No, the Lord said as a collective, we have to care for one another, man, because we are coming out of Israel, that's like Egypt, right? Let's get that real quick. Let's go to Jeremiah 16. All right, go to Jeremiah 16. All right, Jeremiah chapter 16 and verse number 15. But the Lord liveth that brought up the children of Israel. Didn't just say, brother Abiah, right? It didn't just say brother Yasharala. It said brought up the children of Israel as a collective, right? From the land of the north and from all the lands, whether he had driven them, and I'll bring them again into the land. It's like into their land that I gave unto their fathers, man. Right? So calm. But yeah, you got it, King.
That's right. I'm gonna get this precept too. Just touch back, link back up that even our forefathers they show hospitality. That's really the word. You want to be tenderhearted, and that's in the law, being tenderhearted to one another. But when someone's down, you having brotherly love, showing brotherly kindness, you helping that brother out. He might not have much enough food. He might not even have enough servants to do certain work. You might lend your servants to him for a day so he get the work done. That's real love, man. Like his brother said, your ox, you might lose your ox. Next thing you know, a brother he finds your ox and give it right back to you. He didn't steal it. He didn't use it for his own will. He gave it right back to you in sincerity. But it's the book of Genesis, chapter 19 and verse 1. And there came two angels to Sodom at even, and Lot sat in the gate of Sodom, and Lot, seeing them, rose up to meet them, and he bowed himself with his face toward the ground. So Lot has spiritual eyes to see that these two men are angels. How come everybody else didn't see that these men were angels? Because they wasn't on the same spiritual level that Lot was on. You might have a spiritual eyes to see. You might see someone out in the crowd that just looks different. That just has a different spirit. And you start to realize that it might be an angel, man. Right? That's some people recognize angels unawares. Verse 2. And he said, behold, now, my lords, turn in, I pray you, enter into your servant's house, and tarry all night, and wash your feet, and ye shall rise up early, and go on your ways. And they said, nay, but we will abide in the street all night. So, hey, not Job, Slakia, Lot, he kept trying to get these men to go into his house to feed them, wash their feet, to make sure they're nourished, give them something to drink, and really take care of them. That's real love. You might see a homeless person, you might take him out to eat, get him some food, get him some shoes, you might take the jacket off your back and give it to him. You might mess around, give him a chain and make him look good, give him a haircut, give him a hat, something, right? Even give him a face mask, because these stores be kicking the homeless out because they don't have no face mask, just using an excuse. All right, so you might do something to these homeless men to take care of them. Verse 3. And he pressed upon them greatly. And again, it says right here in verse 2, nay, but we will abide in the street all night. And that's some homeless men too. They're very humble. Like, nah, it's okay, man. Get that to somebody else. You don't have to give me that water bottle. I don't have to take another sandwich. Give it to somebody else who needs it more. Because most poor men, or some poor men, they're very humble and meek. Sometimes you gotta press them out, man. Right, like verse 3. And he pressed upon them greatly. Man, he keep getting on them, saying, no, I'm not leaving until you come into my house. That's like you saying nowadays, I'm not going to let you leave until you hear the words of the Lord. I'm not going to let you leave until you take this piece of bread, you take this money, you take this water bottle. Right? And they turned in unto him and entered into his house. And he made them a feast and did bake unleavened bread, and they did eat. You see that? So, hey, he baked unleavened bread. He made a feast, man. He never know what, Lot threw down, right? You don't know what he threw down, right? And he was a nephew to Abraham, so it was good. It was definitely good through the spirit. So, yeah, he threw down for the angels, made sure they ate, gave them water, washed their feet, and really took care of them. Even when you read Genesis 18, if Abraham did the same thing. Abraham had spiritual eyes to see They recognize these angels and the Lord. And he said, in verse 4, Genesis 18, verse 4, let a little water, I pray you, be fetched, and wash your feet, and rest yourselves under the tree. And I will fetch a morsel of bread, and comfort ye your hearts. After that ye shall pass on, for therefore are ye come to your servant. And they said, so do as thou hast said. So even Abraham was hospitable. That's one of the traits we have to possess to love our brothers. You see a brother on hard time, he didn't get a haircut in months. Hey, be like, hey man, hey, just hold this real quick. Go to the hair, go to the barber shop and get a haircut, man. I see that you getting kind of skinny. Are you eating, King? How hold this? Well, let's go out to eat together. It's on me tonight, and things of that nature. Well, I see, you got a, your car payment. You behind your car payment. I see that you stressed. Hold this real quick, man. You have to pay it back. That's being hospitable. I don't know. You got kicked out your house. Come live with me until you get back on your feet. That's being very hospitable. We gotta possess that trait. A lot of Jake have evil eyes. They don't trust nobody. Things in that nature. They don't want to help. But I tell you that Paul opened his house to the brothers, man, and the brothers was welcome into his house. But Genesis 18 verse 6, and Abraham hastened into the tent unto Sarah. So you gotta haste to be hospitable. You have to haste to love your brother. A lot of people, especially in the world, are always hasty to hate on a brother or to hate their brother. They might, they try to find something evil to say about the brother, but they can't lay hands on it. They can't lay their eyes on it. But right when they see something, they say, aha, now I finally have something to hate the brother for. Instead of looking for something to love the brother for, man. Right? It says, and Abraham hastened into the tent unto Sarah and said, make ready quickly 3 measures of fine meal, knead it, and make cakes upon a hearth. And Abraham ran unto the herd and fetched a calf tender and good, and gave it unto a young man, and he hasted to dress it. And he took butter and milk and a calf which he had dressed, and set it before them. And he stood by them under the tree, and they did eat. Bit like that. So Abraham and Lot were very hospitable. And a brother told me, even the northern kingdom, like Ephraim, they're very hospitable too. They're very nice people. And I see on the main folk level. Issachar, they're very, most Issachar that I know, very hospitable. They're very, they're cool. They always call you amigo, brother, a friend, and things of that nature, man. That's just in the spirit to be hospitable. That's why they got overtaken by the so-called white man, because the white men used their kindness for weakness. But
Yeah, Khan, that's right. That is right, man. You know, I am also around a lot of the Northern Kingdom. You know, they are hospital. They are hospital. So yeah, Khan. I got a precept on that too. Titus chapter 1 and verse 7. It says, for a bishop must be blameless as the steward of the Most High, not self-willed, not soon angry, right? So these are certain traits that a bishop must have, right? Uh, not given to wine, no striker, not given to filthy lucre, and those are these modern pastors and bishops, right, of today, right? They're given to filthy lucre, all right. You won't catch a Jake, a Jake pastor or a bishop. It doesn't even have to be a Jake. You won't see him hollering and dancing in a mega church, right? And he's sweating, sweating. He's not doing all that just for nothing, man. He's doing it for money. He's passing around the collection plate. There's ATM in the back of the mega church. There's 4 ATMs. You know what I'm saying? One in that corner, and another in the other corner, and the other in the front, and the other, you know what I'm saying, on the side, right? Hey, he's not just doing that for nothing, right? And guess what? We doing this video, we're not asking for money, right? Hey, are we asking for money?
La.
La. It is perfectly. We're doing it because guess what the Lord told us to, right? We're not doing it for filthy lucre, but in order for you to be a bishop, can be given a filthy lucre. But here's the point, right? Verse 8. But a lover of hospitality. That's the first trait that Paul listed. Hey, if Paul came around here, if Paul came around here, he's the elder. We're not going to teach. He's going to teach, right? We're going to zip it. Paul, he's going to teach, right? Because he's the elder, right? He said that a bishop must be a lover of hospitality, man. Just like how the brother was bringing out In Genesis 16, 17, 18, 19, you can see many accounts of our people, especially Abraham, Lot, and Lot was relatives to Abraham. So, of course, they moved in similar spirits. You know, Lot was comforting onto the angels. Abraham was as well, right? So you can see that type of hospitality our forefathers moved in. You know, even Jacob meeting Esau, man, right? Let's get that real quick. You know, and Jacob, he did that also to be, wise as a serpent. But Jake, guess what? Jacob, he also was hospital, right? You know, um, let's go to the book Genesis, right? Let's go to the book of Genesis, chapter 29, right? Actually, hold on. No, that's not what I want. Right, go to Genesis 32. Right, Genesis 32 and verse 13. Right now, Jacob, he did this in order to avoid conflict with Esau, but this is still a form of hospitality, right? Genesis chapter 32 and verse 13, it says, and he lodged there that same night and took of that which came to his hand a present for Esau his brother. So Jacob was sending presents unto Esau, man. As you go into it, it says what? 200 she goats and 20 he goats, right? 200 ewes and 20 rams. And all of this stuff, that's a lot of money right there, man. You know what I'm saying? That's a lot of money, right? So, all right, time, right? And that's a lot of money, you know? Imagine sending somebody, it's a present. It's like, damn. Because it says 200 she goats. That's a lot of goats, man. And that's a lot of goat milk as well. Because guess what? Goats, they produce milk and whatnot. So hey, that's a lot of money right there, right? And 20 he goats, 200 ewes, and 20 rams. Remember, our forefathers wasn't just just some person, right? Just some guy. Jacob, he had status. He had a lot of wealth as well. In order to give this present, it's a present, it's a gift. You know what I'm saying? Onto his brother Esau, man. Right? And there was even more that he gave onto him. Right? We wouldn't have to go through every single thing. But guess what? Jacob, he also displayed hospitality, man. Right? And there's a lot of accounts of that. Right? But I'm gonna go back to that in the book of Titus. Right? Titus chapter 1, verse 8. It says, but a lover of hospitality, a lover of good men, sober, just, holy, temperate. All right. Holding fast the faithful word as he had been taught, that he may be able by sound doctrine both to exhort and to convince the gainsayers. All right. So if you want to desire the bishop of Aslaki, the office of a bishop, man, although that is a good work, you have to be a lover of hospitality. What kind you got to care?
Kind of more preach I do want to bring out about the Northern Kingdom, being hospitable. This is the book of Tobit, chapter 2. Tobit, Tobias, they came from the tribe of Naphtali, if I'm not mistaken. Naphtali. And that's the Northern Kingdom. So this is the book of Tobit, chapter 2, let's start verse 1. Now when I was come again, and my wife Anna was restored unto me with my son Tobias in the feast of Pentecost, which is the holy feast of the 7 weeks, there was a good dinner prepared me, in the which I sat down to eat. Now, a lot of men, they see a big dinner. They got the big turkey leg, and they eat it like this. You see on the cartoons. They got that binky, whatever it's called, around their neck. About to eat, man. I forgot what it's called. They got all these different foods on the table. They will forget to pray over the food. They'll just eat, man. They won't care about who's the homeless. They said, I'll do that later. I'm hungry. I'm starving. I just came off a fast. I want to eat. I want to take care of myself. Let's see what this man from the tribe of Naphtali did. Verse 2. And when I saw abundance of meat, Slakia, and when I saw abundance of meat, I said to my son, Go and bring what poor man soever thou shalt find out of our brethren, who is mindful of the Lord. And lo, I tarry for thee. You see that? So you said, hey man, I'm going to wait for you until you bring a poor man whosoever mindful of the Lord. And that's very cool, man. You know, that's very cool because the poor people, they only get the scraps. They might get a piece of bread, literally. They might just get a piece of a drop of hot sauce that's falling off a plate by someone who's walking past. A piece of fry that fell off the box. That's even on Luke. No, Luke 16 verse 19 on down about how Lazarus is a beggar, man. No, we're known for begging. We're known for being the poor. That's why again the Lord has certain laws to give to the poor so they won't have to beg, man. They can live like actual human beings. This is the book of Luke, chapter 16. I'll start verse 19. There was a certain rich man, and a certain rich man is Esau, that nasty, wicked, no melanin Esau, right? Which was clothed in purple and fine linen and fared sumptuously every day. Meaning he don't have to pay the bills. Well, he pay his bills on time. He don't have to worry or stress about his car getting taken away. He barely works, right? If anything, you know, he just sits back in his CEO office and kick back. He got a nice penthouse. He got no worries, man. Everything is made for him because his parents, his grandparents has generational wealth, you know? Verse 20. And there was a certain beggar named Lazarus, and Lazarus represents the Israelites, the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, which was laid at his gates full of sores and desiring to be fed with the crumbs which fell from the rich man's table. So yeah, the people, hey, the poor people out there, they desire to be fed with the crumbs, man. All they want is a piece of bread and they'll be satisfied. They just want one chicken tender and they will be satisfied. They're not asking for a steak from Ruth Chris. They're not asking for all these delicacies that the so-called white man puts out. They just want a fry with some salt on it and the water, and they will be satisfied. They'll go back to their tents. They'll call it a day. They might be full, and they'll bless the Most High God, right? But these white men, guess what? They're greedy as heck. So you know that goes back to the law, just showing you that you know we are the people in the Bible first of all, and to show you that the Lord made certain laws to be hospitable to the people, to your people. It's better to give than to receive, you know. So, Khan, just showing that precept. But Khan, you got it, King. You on mute, Malak.
Con, for water. I want to go back to Sirach chapter 29, you know, because yeah, this is very good points as well. You know, let's go to Sirach chapter 29. In verse 7, it says, many therefore have refused to lend for other man's ill dealing, fearing to be defrauded. So, and that's true. You know, sometimes you may not want to do good to a certain brother. You may not want to do good to your people because you have fear that you're not going to get anything in return. You fear that you're going to be defrauded, right? Verse 8. But nevertheless, you know what I'm saying? The Lord did say, give and it shall be given unto you. Right? That's Luke 6 and 38. Right? But let's go to Sirach 29 8. It says, yet have thou patience with a man in poor estate, and delay not to show him mercy. So we have to have patience with our people, right? Help the poor for the commandment's sake, and turn him not away because of his poverty. The Lord said, help the poor for the commandment's sake. Because you keeping the commandments when you help out the poor. Verse 10, lose thy money for thy brother and thy friend, and let it not rust under a stone to be lost. The Lord said that, man. He said, lose your money for your brother and your friend, man. Right? And remember, our friend is not just anybody. Okay? It's not just really anybody. Right? Now, of course, you want to give to your people and stuff like that, but the person that you call your brother, the person that you call your friend, it's not just anybody. Not just some guy walking up the street. What's up, friend? You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about like your actual friend, right? Now, of course, you know what I'm saying? We use that term like brother, you know, of course, A fellow Israelite is my brother. But you also have different status as a brother, right? Because if you don't know him, you know what I'm saying, you can't really necessarily call him, your brother. And brothers know what I'm talking about, right? Because let's go to the book of Philippians. Let's lock it. Philemon, right? There's different statuses essentially when it comes to that. So, especially, your brother, your real brother is Israel in this truth. You know what I'm saying? Israelite brothers in this truth, that's your real brother, right? Because people outside in the world, of course, there are brothers. You know what I'm saying? The Israelites in the world, the Jakes that's in the world, of course, there are brothers, but like how we're going into, they're not going to rebuke you when you're going off. They're not going to tell you right when your spirit is off. They're not going to go for precepts with you. They're not going to be doing these things. They're going to be talking about getting drunk, getting high, smoking, women. They're going to be talking about all manner of folly. That's what we're going to be talking about, right? So that's why I'm trying to get that point across. Right, but let's go to the book of Philemon. I'm actually pulling Philemon, man. I'm actually pulling Philemon. That's crazy. Spirit, because never really go to Philemon. All right, let's go to Philemon, chapter 1, and verse. Right. Hold on, I'm gonna see what I'm gonna start at. Yeah, Philemon, chapter 1, verse 15. It says, "For perhaps he therefore departed for a season, that thou shouldest receive him forever. Not now as a servant, but above a servant, a brother beloved, especially to me, and how much more unto thee, both in the flesh and in the Lord." See that? So guess what? Hey, though your brother, hey, he might be a servant. You know what I'm saying? And we're all servants to the Lord. But it says, but above a servant, a brother beloved. So you have, your brothers, that's, the children of your people, but you also have beloved brothers in this truth, who you're keen to. You know what I'm saying? Who you go to, that's your friend, right? Now, when you go back to this, the Lord said, lose thy money for thy brother and thy friend, man, right? It says, Sirach chapter 29, verse 10, lose thy money for thy brother and thy friend, and let it not rust under a stone to be lost. You just hiding out your money, not really utilizing it. The Lord said, don't let it just rust under a stone, right? And then now you just lost it, right? Yeah, all this money, you just lost it, kind of looking for it around the house. What? Kind of looking for it. Hey, anybody see my wallet, right? Yeah, hella money in it, man, right? You was walking up and down the streets with your brother. He's talking about, oh, man, I need a couple dollars to, this is gas or whatever. You got a pocket full of your wallet's pocket, full of money. You're like, oh yeah, man, curses. You say the curses, right? And this is your brother, your friend, right? That's like, come on now, you know what I'm saying? And now, hey, the Lord made you to lose that wallet. Right. So, sometimes we just want to act spiritual, walk spirit, or, all the time we want to act, walk spiritually in this thing. Right. Understand that the Lord is in control of all things, that we should be applying these precepts. Because when we give you these precepts, we also want to not be hypocrites. So we want to do the same things that we're telling you as well. Right. So come.
I appreciate the link up with you too. Because you might have brothers who just use you for money. You might have brothers, you kind of scared to give them money because it's not really what they need it for. It might be used for something else. You kind of thinking, casting a lot, and you second guessing it. Should I do this? Should I do that? But remember what the Lord said too. You gotta have discernment, but remember this too. Matthew chapter 5 and verse 44. But I say unto you, love your enemies. It's not talking about the so-called white man. It's talking about the people of your nation. It says, but I say unto you, love your enemies, bless them that curse you, do good to them that hate you, and pray for them which despitefully use you and persecute you. So you should be praying for them, man. You kind of have a feeling They just hitting you up because they're just using your kindness for weakness, and they'll know that you might give them some money because you're a very kind person. That's like me using Yasharala because I know he's a very genuine, humble, kind brother. I'll call him. I act like I'm going through affliction. Yeah, brother, man. Well, first I want to say, yeah, how about Shimi, how Shabarak? How you doing, King? And I'm just trying to butter him up. The next thing you know, I'll pop the question. Yeah, do you have $50, King? I know you've been working. You've been on fire. And I know you're a man of the Lord. Things of that nature. And through the Spirit, the Lord put on my spirit to ask a man of the Lord. Trying to use enticing words. Yeah, I know you're a man of the Lord. You're on fire. You're mighty. And through the Spirit, I can perceive that you're a merciful man. Can you please, just send me $50? It could be your alms. The Lord will definitely bless you, King. And Yasharal was like, man, this is the fourth time this week. This man asked me for $50, man. Like, dang, what you doing? Saving up for a dang ticket? Like, what's going on? Right? Then, Yasharala, he might be like, yeah, give me 1 second, King. Give me 1 second. Let me see what I can do. Put the phone on mute. Start thinking. Start praying. He's second guessing, but he got the Cash App open. The Cash App open. He send it. Then he just do this. Answer back the phone. I King. I just sent you the money. I can't. Shalom. Then he just hangs up. The man who called him just hangs up. And things of that nature, man. And Yasharal, he feels bad in the spirit. But what did the Lord tell you to do? It says, and pray for them which despitefully use you. Now, of course, have discernment, of course. Don't just be a nigga. Don't be a fool. Have discernment. But, you just never know sometimes. You might really need that. But then, other times, she's really just using you. That's why we should be praying for one another. Asking for forgiveness, asking for their sins to be forgiven too. So that's real love, praying over one another and praying for them in your prayers. But Salakia. Can you hear me?
Yeah, come on.
Did it just lag or something?
Yeah, I don't know what the heck happened, bro. It's like knocked us out.
Hey, how long did I cut out for?
Can you hear me?
Now I can. It's like lagging, but it's
What
straight
the
now.
hell? It's crazy, bro.
Saying, man.
You on mute.
Can you hear me now?
Con.
Yeah. How long was I cutting out?
Um, right, we heard the precept. I think we heard the precept, but yeah, the parable that you put forth, we also heard that too. But yeah, I kind of forgot after that.
Yeah, that's really it. Just pray for people who's using you, who despitefully use you, and things of that nature.
Yeah.
Don't be a fool, of course, but kind.
That's right, man. So yeah, but yeah, that all ties into brotherly love, man. That all ties into brotherly love, and like how Yahweh Shah, you know, that's the ultimate form. You know what I'm saying? Of how to love your people, how to love your brothers, man. Because first of all, he laid down his life for his people, right? That's the first and foremost. Yahweh Shai, he didn't have to do that. Like how we always say, he didn't have to do that, man. He didn't have to get on the cross, man. In fact, he was weak in the flesh. He was getting weak in the flesh, and he started to not want to do that. He was praying unto the Father that the cup may pass for him. But he had to toughen up. He had to strengthen himself, right? He had to gird up his loins, and he had to commit that and go through with it, right? For the love of his people, man. Right? I'm gonna go to the book of Deuteronomy, right? Also, how to love your people as well, or how to love your brother, you can is displayed by how the Most High loves His people as well, right? Let's go to the book of Deuteronomy chapter 7, right? You trying to read that, Baba Kasha? Deuteronomy 7:6.
Come.
Come.
Actually, reading the Bible. There. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7. Yeah, it's locked. I read in my other Bible.
Oh,
Deuteronomy chapter 7 and verse 6, and it reads, For the Lord, Slakia, for thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself, above all people that are upon the face of the earth.
so the Lord, He said He chose us, right, to be a special people, man, above all people that are upon the face of the earth. That's love within itself. But let's keep going. Right?
The Lord did not set his love upon you, nor choose you, because you were more in number than any people, for you were the fewest of all people.
We're the fewest of all people. We weren't some strong and mighty nation, right? Not yet. It wasn't until the Lord loved us and chose us did we become strong, right? And you had a lot of nations. In fact, Israel was one of the last, latter nations to be made, on a physical level, although Israel is the firstborn, right? So, and that's deep, right? That's deep, you know. The first shall be last and last shall be first.
I was just thinking that too.
Damn, that's fear,
Uh,
right? But you see that? So, and we're the fewest of all people. But guess what? The Lord still loved us, right? Let's read verse 8.
Verse 8, Deuteronomy 7, verse 8, but because the Lord loved you, and because he would keep the oath which he had sworn unto your fathers, hath the Lord brought you out with a mighty hand, and redeemed you out of the house of bondmen, from the hand of Pharaoh, king of Egypt.
You see that? But because the Lord loved you, that's why he chose us, man. Because of his love for us, right? He saw us. He saw us maneuver. He saw the tents. You know what I'm saying? He saw how we just we're the salt of the earth, right? On a certain level, and he loved us, right? Let's go to the book of Hosea 11:1, right?
Can you me read it, King?
Yeah, Con. Shop.
This is the book of Hosea, chapter 11 and verse 1. And it reads, When Israel was a child, then I loved him
Mm-hmm.
and called my son out of Egypt.
You see that? When Israel was a child, he loved, the Lord, he loved them, man. And he called his son out of Egypt. You see that? He said, get out of captivity, get out of Egypt, man. And you can see how the Lord loves his people, man. Because just like how a father, let's go to the book of Second Corinthians. Right, let's go to Second Corinthians chapter 12 and verse number 13.
Second Corinthians chapter 12 and verse 13. For what is it wherein you were inferior to other churches, except it be that I myself was not burdensome to you? Forgive me this wrong. Behold, okay, you got it.
Oh, Slot, now you got it, yeah.
Behold, the third time I am ready to come to you, and I will not be burdensome to you. For I seek not yours, but you. For the children ought not to lay up for the parents, but the parents for the children.
So Salaki, Paul, and he came to the church Corinth 3 times, man. 3 times, man. And that's love within itself as well. Right? You care so much about certain people, certain Israelites in this truth, getting it right. You come to them 3 times. And that's the number of completion. Paul, he could have just came to them one time, y'all get it right, y'all get it straight. Right? If y'all don't get it right, y'all don't get it straight, you're gonna be destroyed, this and that. I'm gonna cast you off. He didn't say that, man. Right? He wrote 2 letters, 2 lengthy letters. First Corinthians, Second Corinthians. They could have been in Third Corinthians too, right? That we don't have. Don't try to find it. You know what I'm saying? Don't try to, brothers now looking it up eBay. It could be a 30. Third, you see this nasty book, Third and Fourth Corinthians. Nah, bro, nah. But hey, I'm just saying they could have been other letters, right? Now, but that's love within itself. Paul, he came to the church Corinth 3 times, man. That's like you come into a brother, he keeps going off. He keeps going off. You know what I'm saying? But you're bearing patiently with him. You're bearing his burdens together. Right? He's like, I'm just trying to get it right. You know what I'm saying? And you keep going over scripts with him, man. Keep going on calls, keep going on FaceTimes. You keep sending him in precepts. You're not giving up, right? That's also love within itself, right? Because that's that persistence. That's that you know, you want him to do right. You know what I'm saying? You want him to get back on his feet. Right? That's like how we're running together in a race or something like that, where like how the military, they'll run together. They wouldn't leave any man behind, right? For a drill. So you running together, some man slips, you have to go back and get him, man. Pick him up, even though he might be still slipping in the mud. Pick him back up, right? He might slip again. Pick him back up. It might get tiring after a while, man, right? But just as the Lord said, let's real quick, let's go to the book of Matthew, chapter 7, verse 12. Here's the golden rule right here. Right? That's the golden rule.
Book of Matthew, chapter 7, and verse 12. Therefore, all things whatsoever you would that man should do to you, do ye even so to them, for this is the law and the prophets.
That's the law and the prophets, man. That's the sum of it all. Whatsoever things you would that men should do to you, do ye even so to them. Hey, I would want brother Abaya, if I'm going the hell off, I want him to tell me, man. I want him to get on me, man. Right? I want him, right, to lift me up, back up, and cover me through the scriptures, right? And I'm pretty sure their brother will want that, if he did that, if he was going off too, right? So whatever things you want people to do to you, do you even so to them, right? That's the law and the prophets within itself, right? And it's like I just want to go back to that precept real quick in 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 14, because it says, for the children ought not to lay up for the parents, but the parents for the children. You know how your mom loved you because she laid up for you. She taught you how to make your bed. She gave you certain things. She gave you clothes, or even your parents, they gave you clothes, man. They taught you certain things, right? They nourished you. They comforted you. You know what I'm saying? They birthed you. The parents, they lay up for the children. And so that's that kind of connection even that Paul had with the people that he brought into the truth, like a parent. You know what I'm saying? Like a father to a child. That's the type of love that they have, man. That's even brotherly love, right? But Khan, I want to just read verse 15, and I'll pass it.
Verse 15.
Khan.
And I will very gladly spend and be spent for you, though the more abundantly I love you, the less I be loved.
Khan, you see that? And he said, though the more abundantly I love you, the less I be loved. But he was willing to bear that burden, right? So, hey, it's about loving this thing, but let brotherly love continue. But Khan, you got it, okay?
Khan, that's all I got.
Khan, right? So all praise to the Most High, right? All praise to the Most High. Let me see if I have like one more precept. It was oh yeah, Khan, let's go real quick. Let's go to the classic Galatians 6:1. All right, I'm gonna bring that out just before we close out.
Galatians chapter 6 and verse 1. Brethren, if a man be overtaken in a fault, ye which are spiritual, restore such in one in the spirit of meekness, considering thyself, lest thou also be tempted. Bear ye one another's burdens, and so fulfill the law of Christ.
Khan, you see that? So Khan, the water, all praises. It says, hey brother, if a man be overtaken in the fault, if a man gets overtaken in the fault, we have to be there for it. That's being your brother's keeper, right? Oh, hey, we gotta bring that out real quick, right? Gotta bring that out, man. That's one of the the precepts that revolves around WFI, right? Go to Galatians, it's lucky, not Galatians, Genesis 4 and verse 7, right?
Genesis chapter 4 and verse 7. If thou doest well, shalt thou not be accepted, and if thou doest not well, sin lieth at the door, and unto thee shall be his desire, and thou shalt rule over him.
right? If you just do well, you're gonna be accepted, man. You know what I'm saying? But if you don't do well, then sin, Satan is gonna lie at the door. You got it.
And Cain talked with Abel, his brother. And it came to pass when they were in the field that Cain rose up against Abel, his brother, and slew him.
It's off. Right. You got it.
And the Lord said unto Cain, where is Abel thy brother? And he said, I know not. Am I my brother's keeper?
Am I my brother's keeper, man? Yes, we are our brother's keeper. Man. We are our brother's keeper, man. That's what it's about, bro. We have to, and remember that word keeper means watcher, right? So we have to literally watch over each other. We have to, like that term in the world, you know, watch each other's backs, right? This brother's falling, I'm picking back up. I fall, he's gonna pick me back up, man. Hey, we have to keep each other, man. We should always know, or not always, but you know what I'm saying. We should know what a brother's doing. You know what I'm saying we should know, if the certain sins that he might be battling with and dealing with, and that's that communication that also goes with both sides too, because we can try to be our brother's keeper all day. If he's not, you know what I'm saying, willing to cooperate, then that's on him, man, and the Lord will have to deal with it, right? But you know what I'm saying, we have to be each other's brothers keepers, right? So, come, right? And that's all he said. I know not, right? After he just killed them, man, threw him in the field, probably got a rock, just, ah, you know, that's off his hell, right? That's off his hell. But what was he at?
Galatians 6:2. I got a point, Salaki, too.
Oh yeah,
One
you got it.
thing, like I said in the other video we did, kind of go into this. I believe it was what, Luke 12, I believe, or Luke 17. I think it was Luke 17.
Yeah,
But Luke 17, I said the same thing though. Like a brother said, keeper, is watcher, being a watcher. And you might, correct your brother, and guess what? He might get upset. He might feel some type of way because it's just pride on him. He don't want to be corrected. You think people want to hear correction all the time? They want to be always right. And that's pride on certain people. I have that pride sometimes. A brother can have the pride on him sometimes too. Anybody can have that pride on them, man. But you loving your brother, you bound to get into an argument, man. You bound to get into it. But at the end of the day, it's all love. But this is the book of Proverbs, chapter 13 and verse 10. Only by pride comes contention, but with the well advised is wisdom. So, Cain thought he was right. He thought he didn't do anything. Am I my brother's keeper? He had pride on him, man. But a real man, guess what? He will understand that he is his brother's keeper, man. He wouldn't have slew his brother, But that's all I wanted to bring out.
Yeah, That's right. That's right. They even pursues back onto Ezekiel 3:17. You know, so the man have set thee a watchman over the house of Israel. You know, but That's right. That's right. But yeah, I just want to go back to that in Galatians real quick. Galatians. All right.
You want me to read it or you want to read it?
Yeah, just read. So like yeah. Just read verse 1 again, Bobby Show.
Galatians chapter 6 and verse 1. Brethren, if a man be overtaken in a fault, ye which are spiritual, restore such in one and the spirit of meekness, considering thyself, lest thou also be tempted.
You see that? So always think about that, right? We call ourselves spiritual in this truth, cool. That means that you're able to restore such a one in the spirit, right? You know the certain precepts, you know what I'm saying? You got the spirit of the Lord, of course. And and when we study these precepts, just like pursuant to back into the book of Sirach, consider that I have not labored for myself only, man. You know what I'm saying? We're not going over these precepts of comfort, of love. We're not going over these precepts of Proverbs, like for example, Proverbs 24:16 and all this other stuff just for ourselves, but also to lift up the other brother. Because he can be going through this exact same thing. Remember, the Lord even said that 1 Corinthians 10 and 13, there have no temptation taking you, but such is common to man. So it's not like whatever we're going through is just some strange thing that no other brother's going through. All right, we're all going through it, man. So that's why we're able to lift up each other, and that's the beauty of it, But I also want to get real quick Let's go to Galatians 5, the fruits of the spirit, right? And verse 22 real quick.
Galatians chapter 5 and verse 22. But the
Mhm.
fruit of the Spirit is love,
Mm.
joy, peace, long suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, temperance. Against such there is no law.
You see that? Come on. So that's the fruit of the spirit. And the first fruit of the spirit is love, man. That's what we all need. We need that love, that joy, that peace, that long suffering, that gentleness to each other, right? And I'm gonna get this. You don't have to read it, but I just thought of this precept real quick. Romans chapter 12, right? Romans chapter 12 and verse 9. It says, "Let love be without dissimulation. Abhor that which is evil, cleave to that which is good. Be kindly affectionate one to another with brotherly love and honor, preferring one another." Right? We prefer one another. We prefer our people over the heathen. That's for sure, right? If I see brother Abai walking down the street, and then on the other side of the street, I see a gang of I don't know, damn heathen women, right, calling after me. Guess what I'm gonna pick, man? Right? Guess what I'm gonna go to? Right? Go to my brother. That and honor preferring one another. Right? What the hell? That's not even a question, bro. That's not even. Yeah, but con, but it says be kindly affectionate one to another with brotherly love. Sometimes you just gotta be, charismatic. You gotta be you know, affectionate to your brother and to your people. You don't have to walk as, you know, king, well, not King David, but like you don't have to just be this austere brother that's just hard on everybody. You know, the Lord said, "Hey, be kindly affectionate." You know, show that love, show that humility, show that kindness, right? And we have to be walking as such, right? So come, but yeah, that's all I have for that.
Mm,
Uh, that's all you had on that too.
God.
All right, so so that's a good time. 2 hours, 12 minutes. I played some most side. So at this time we can bring our closing precepts.
God. This is the book of John, chapter 13 and verse 34. A new commandment I give unto you, that you love one another as I have loved you, that you also love one another. And the Lord loved the church. He died for the church. He gave to the church. Amen. You never know what he did. Miracles upon the church. He healed the church. Had compassion upon the church. He did a lot of things for the church. So if he did all those things, and the Lord told you to love your brother as he loved you, that means your love to your brother should be exceedingly on high. Not just when you want to, not just when you feel like it, not just when he do something for you, but when you going through it. I have adversity together. A brother is born for adversity, and things of that nature, man. Right? So, when y'all going through it, even when y'all chopping it at each other's throat, y'all should still love one another. Giving, doing arms together, making videos together, counseling one another, giving each other precepts, man, keeping it real with one another, man.
Uh,
That's real love. Yahushua, he kept it real with Peter. And that's how you know that Peter loved, his brothers so much that he even tried to rebuke the Lord. It was all the love, so called, but it was really saying on him. But you can see the type of spirit, that they was moving in. No respect of persons, and it is what it is. That's real love. Verse 35. By this shall all men know that ye are my disciples, if ye have love one to another. You see that? That's how you know you are Israelite. That's how you know. That's how these heathen know you're a disciple. Go to the hoods and ghettos. Go to Compton. Go to Atlanta. Go to all these different cities, man. In Baltimore, in New Jersey, New York, and all these different in Philadelphia, Detroit. Go to all these different cities. Guess what? You're gonna see us hating one another, killing one another. You might go to the hoods. You see these chicks fighting with the baby in their hand, pulling each other hair. And guess what? That's how you know we're not the disciples. When you start loving one another, you got fringes on, you keeping the commandments, you giving alms, you showing love to one another, keeping it real. That's how you know that. Look, man, that's how you see to know that you're waking up to your true nationality. That you keeping the commandments. That you know about Yahweh while Yahweh Shah.
right.
But I'll pass it on though.
Con. Yeah, I got like two presets. But yeah, con. That's right. Very wise words from the brother, man. Very wise words from the brother. You know, brought it out mightily through the spirit, all praise to the most high. Right. I'm gonna go to the book of First John. Right. Actually, I'm gonna start with the other precept. Let's go to the book of Ephesians, chapter 3, and verse 19. It says, I'm sorry, verse 17. It says, that Christ may dwell in your hearts by faith, that ye being rooted and grounded in love. So we have to be rooted and grounded in love. You see that? That's also the foundation that we must walk on, man. Right? Because with with love, you can conquer Satan. Right? Your love for the Most High, it's better than Satan, man. It's stronger than Satan. Your love for your people, your nation, right? Who's going to stop you? If you love your people so much, if you love the Most High so much, who's going to stop you on a physical level, right? Verse 18, may be able to comprehend with all saints what is the breadth and length and depth and height, and to know the love of Christ, which passeth knowledge, that ye might be filled with all the fruitfulness of the Most High. You see that? That's powerful right there, man. The love of the Most High, the love of Mahashiach Yahweh Shah, the love. Remember, when you love Yahweh Shah, you love also your people. Hey, that passes all knowledge. You can have 1,000 precepts. You know what I'm saying? 1,000 breakdowns. You know Daniel chapter 12 by heart. You know the Daniel 11 chapter breakdown, the whole breakdown by heart. You know all the precepts, all the history that links up with it. You can go into these various things. You can infer. You can go into the history. You know 1,000 precepts, like we always say. But if you don't love your people, you know what I'm saying, and you don't have that love, right, for the Most High and for your people, it's not worth it anything, man. It passes knowledge. The love of Mahashiach Yahushua, it passes all knowledge, man. You have all this knowledge in the world. It's not, if it's not, you're not using it to your benefit, if you're not using it sincerely, it's for naught, man. It's for naught, right? Because remember, and we're also led to believe the Most High is not going to save the brother that's just all knowledgeable, right? He's not going to save that brother, and he's not keeping the commandments, not loving his people and loving his God. And the Lord's not going to save that man. He's going to save that man that actually, right, is applying these precepts, to the best of his ability, right? Me speaking as a man. So, and that's all praise to Most High. So, like we say, at the water for tuning in. Again, all praise to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shad, Brother Yasha Allah.
Brother Abaya.
Welcome back to yet another video to the Spirit Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shad. Right? Like how we say, Lord willing is edifying, the water for tuning in. Kwame Yasha Allah. Shalom.